Welcome once again, my friend, to Soulful Psalm. This week we're going to be focusing on Psalm 15. Now, the earlier ones I talked about last week have a lot of criticism to them. They're dark. They have a lot of sense that human beings are not terribly inspiring creatures. And I think this psalm was deliberately positioned to cheer people up after they've read the prior Psalms. It's a fascinating Psalm. It's very concise. It's all of 6 verses. It's packed with all kinds of things going on. And it's a beautiful Psalm. It's an inspiring Psalm. So, you know this Psalm. We use this Psalm regularly in worship. It is also used at funerals when we want to acknowledge a particularly inspiring or uplifting life that we're honoring. So I'm going to show you this psalm, and we're going to go through it. It's considered by modern scholars to be a liturgy of entrance or a liturgy of ascent. It is imagined that in its original context, this was a poem that would be sung by Levites as you went up the stairs to the temple. It presents a rhetorical question that hopefully you can answer in the positive. And it is intended to make you feel like you are entering into holy space. So let's get to it. And it starts with a rhetorical question. Lord, who may sojourn in your tent? Who may dwell upon your holy mountain? So what we're talking about is we're talking about the temple, even though the tent seems to be referring to the more ancient Mishkan or portable sanctuary. In either case, it's on top of Mount Zion, which is presumably where the worshiper is proceeding to. And it gives a response, and this response is in both positive and negative statements. He who lives without blame, who does what is right, and in his heart acknowledges the truth. So those are 3 positive qualities. But then it goes on to offer 3 negative qualities of who is worthy to enter into the presence of God. Who has never done harm to his fellow or borne reproach for his acts towards his neighbor. All right. So, for whom a contemptible man is abhorrent, but who honors those who fear the Lord. So that structures it back again into the positive, from the 3 negative to a positive declaration. Who stands by his oath even to his hurt, who has never lent money at interest or accepted a bribe against the innocent. And then the coda to all of this: the man who acts thus shall never be shaken. A lovely, lovely poem. It's interesting that all the qualities listed, both negative and positive, add up to 10 qualities. So again, we may not think of it as a poetic conceit or a mechanism for poetry, but numbering things in ancient Hebrew poetry is very common. So it'll be 7 or 10 or 12 elements that make up the poem, and that gives it a poetic quality that we may not necessarily recognize. Now, you will notice, as I have noticed and everyone has noticed, that it emphasizes social, or what we would call ethical behavior. It's primarily focused on how people behave towards one another. In that way, it is an exemplary Jewish psalm. It does refer to God and showing respect to God, but in essence, its message is, if you want to honor God, honor that thing that is made in the image of God, which is your fellow human beings. And if you conduct yourself rightly towards your fellow human beings, you have ipso facto, that's Hebrew, ipso facto, behave properly towards God, and you are worthy of entering into the temple space. Now, one could imagine someone would listen to this list and suddenly go, oh gosh, I might have violated one or two of these. I'm going to turn around and leave. But what it's actually meant to do is inspire you to repent, to do tshuva. You remember that some of the sacrifices that can be offered in the temple are known as sin offerings and guilt offerings. So this is your chance to address this problem and to correct it before God, so that the next time you come up, you can say honestly, I've attended to all of these issues in my personal moral inventory. So it's an inspiring poem and a lovely poem and a great summa of what it is to be a Jew. So that's Psalm 15. Thank you for taking the time to listen. You'll hear a little reiteration of this in Psalm 24, but take it in a different direction. So I look forward to talking with you next week.